Who are you? And what are you supposed to be doing? Who are you? And what are you supposed to be doing? Why did you decide to come here, to earth, to life? For what reason? What cause? What did you come to accomplish? And what do you have with you to accomplish it? You will never answer that question without identity. You will never answer it when you're surrounded by too much noise. The noise of others, projections of their ideals upon you, opinions, the passion and impulses of following cultures, trends and fads, the music, attractive people, influential people in your life that you look up to and admire, falling into the traps of competition. You end up somewhere that was not scheduled for you and your life journey. And karma has to catch us up with the awareness that could have prevented that in the first place. The heart soul urge number seeks the life path. The heart soul urge being the inner child's specific expression. And that has to be something that you no longer have doubts or confusion about, what it means, what it should look like, and the life path where you have to take it to. The journey, the pathway, the fated experiences that at some point we should learn to embrace instead of being offended by what manifests a fate. Fate are schedules of inevitable outcomes, events, experiences, interactions, connections in our life. And those fated experiences are there to give us a glimpse of what we came to do and why. But when we are not present with ourselves, we will never catch on. We will miss it. It will walk right past us and we will think nothing of it. There was fate. One day I really hope to achieve gaining enough trust with the people that some demonstrators of these particular teachings could grow brave, courageous, and empowered enough to show and prove what this understanding can accomplish in one's life. But even before we reach that, let us look to our children in their faces and see, I may not have had that opportunity, but I could never deny you the opportunity of knowing who you are and what you came to do. Through numerology, it is a very quick find. Without numerology, there are decades and decades of guessing, assuming, and even wondering. But very few who could have the certainty that numerology and astrology can grant the heart to make preparation for whatever it calls them to do. Let all of us cause a new beginning where our youth, children, loved ones, those closest to us who may trust our advice or trust our guidance, trust our ideas, to make sense of their life early without unnecessary hardship, to find those clues, those details, those facts. Which day of the month were you born? And just as simple as that, we know what the soul is inclined to express. What is your life path number? And just as simple as that, we understand what type of fated experiences are inevitable to befall you. And the why, well, there's a shadow and there's a light at every numerological expression. And the why is to be the light of that expression. That is why. Because you become the light of the earth. You become the light and the value of the kingdom of God. Our shadows are out there, rejected, unheard, taking on other roles and experiences that could be quite destructive, misleading, confusing. And they attract karma back into our life. And the karma seems to bring us right back to where the fear of letting go began, where the fear of rejection began, where the fear of isolation began, separation, unhappiness, lack of love. But in meeting those shadows, we see parts of ourselves that, if we could only give enough love, patience, attention, kindness, these gifted rebels, they are very wise because they've been locked away in the underworld where wisdom is born, in dark things, in venom, and the many faces and works of death. Your shadows know all of these things. Imagine what they can teach you if they can trust you again. Imagine what they can accomplish for you if they can trust you again. They know the underworld. And we all have to maneuver through the underworld. It's where we lose portions of ourselves that really has the greatest power of transformation that will allow us to move forward from places that seem impossible to penetrate, situations that seems impossible to see a different outcome through. In the underworld, these shadows, they have all of those answers. They know how to go around. They know how to get through. They know how to shake and move in those dark alleyways of Pluto's world. But first we have to address why we became ashamed of them and locked them away. How do you gain the trust of someone who holds it against you that you were ashamed of them and locked them away? That's what we should be interested in understanding. And we should make it motion toward that reconciliation and healing. We are learning to rebuild trust with the inner child, with the self, and with the shadows too. Not being ashamed of who we are. Not fearing or flinching at the threat of someone leaving us, someone not loving us the way that we want to be loved, or not gaining emotional value out of another person. That really our shadows and our inner child can teach us how to provide for ourselves. Happiness is with them, creativity, strength, confidence, resilience. We can name it all. But what good is it to know what they can do for us if we don't want to do anything for them, such as liberate them and free them? They're your heavenly companions who have right to heavenly roles, but you lock them away. You lock them away to keep fake people around you. For the false security of having everyone to continue smiling at you, cheerleading you, or giving you the feeling that you've been accepted somehow, that you might be special. Imagine how much of this we can avoid in healing ourselves. Leo Mars, Black Moon Lilith Scorpio, this combination, it begins a fiery effort to amplify those voices again. And ultimately, what this will look like is the unorthodox and revolutionary versions of ourselves now takes precedence. Imagine that. I would like us during the Black Moon Lilith transit through Scorpio to take this matter serious, but not in a way where we are overbearing to ourselves. But it does require our effort, our diligence. And what I mean by effort is that we have to educate ourselves about ourselves. It's not enough to just go with the flow. Effort. Not overexerting yourself, stressing yourself out, but where you see that you can have useful information or insight to be that much more responsible to yourself, it is well worth it. It could never be a waste of your time. I became who I was looking for. Many years ago, I was always looking for someone who could explain things, not just give me knowledge. But I wanted to understand. Numerology, it fascinates all of us. Astrology, it fascinates all of us. But it's vanity if we're not applying it, if we're not using it, allowing ourselves to benefit from what we know, from what we learn. More important than just knowledge is we always want the understanding. That's the best part. That is supreme. the understanding. So, the heart, soul, urge number and the life path. That's what this discourse will be about. This channel is not for those who are at beginner levels to where you have no idea what a heart, soul, urge is. You have no idea what a life path is. That's not my role. That's not my place in the community. That doesn't mean that you are not welcome to listen. But if you are a person who doesn't know what heart, soul, urge is or life path is, or any other things that I talk about in discourses, it simply means that you have the responsibility to ask for clarification. You are the one who's responsible for seeking that understanding. No one else is responsible for that. And you cannot betray yourself by saying, oh, I don't need to know. Oh, I assume it means, or I think it means. No. You should make the effort to seek the understanding. It's not my job. It's not anyone's job. It's your job. I teach the wisdom of astrology. So what we have here is not introductory level, but it doesn't mean that you can't receive the message. So for those of you out there who are at those beginner levels, you have to ask questions. You have to take the initiative to ask questions when you don't understand something. Because we need you here, we want you here, we welcome you here, and we're very happy that you can attend. But we don't want you here lost and confused or not benefiting from what you hear. So, I'm going to speak in the language of those who understand these things. And if you get lost, you have to ask questions. This is also part of the importance of you getting readings on a regular basis. If I can work with you personally behind the scenes, my promise and my guarantee is that you will be confused about nothing as it relates to these matters. You will always have access to me. And when you have questions or something needs to be understood, you're not alone. So having said that, there are no excuses. Now, the heart, soul, urge number, as we know, is not the same as the life path number. The heart, soul, urge number, that is the vibration that you are. That's the expression that you embody, you walk with. It cannot leave you. There's nothing you can do to change that channel, to change that vibration about yourself. No matter where you go, that is the frequency that you carry. 1 through 9, and the master numbers 11, 22, and 33. It's who you are. It will never change. It does not discriminate its service. It can serve the darkness and it can serve the light. It can work against itself or it can work in its best interest. But regardless, your vibration will remain your vibration because it is a vibration of your soul, of your heart. And that is what it is tuned into. So likewise, it is the expression of the inner child, that vibration. It's the expression of the inner child. What is meant by expression is that it is what you are guaranteed to seek interest in all matters, all affairs. No matter what, that's what you're looking for. That's what you want out of the deal. That's what you value the most, more than anything, is that particular experience. Early on in life, the child starts out without competence, without order, without directions or instructions, without its mind being polluted by ideologies, theologies, misinformation, fear, guilt, shame. The child expresses that energy through and through in everything that he or she does. Imagine in our ignorance as mothers and fathers, where a child is meant to express a particular numerical vibration, but our parenting happens to work against that numerical vibration. I'm realizing myself through a number 1, a number 5, a number 8, or whatever the case may be. And the child could be a number 4, a number 11, a number 6. And now I'm indoctrinating the child with ideals of right and wrong, good or bad, according to the logistics of my heart-soul expression. So now what I'm doing is I'm breaking the spirit of the child. I'm breaking it. It's just like anything else that you misuse or mishandle. You will break it eventually. If you mishandle something, you will break it. A lot of us were broken. And a lot of us are breaking our children right now. And it's not our will. It's not our intention. But our ignorance is that dangerous. It is that dangerous. You can't discipline a number 1 the same way that you discipline a number 2. You cannot hold a number 5 accountable to the same things that you hold the number 8 accountable to. They're coming from different vibrations, different perceptions, different interests, and different intentions behind everything that they express. It's our responsibility to know, to understand that about the child. It's the same with our husband, our wife, our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, our fathers, our colleagues, our friends, our neighbors. It's the same. We could spend years, decades, trying to understand someone. And we may even get arrogant enough to say that we do understand someone, just because there's been so much time knowing that person. You consult the numerological expression to get an understanding. And what we tend to find is that we projected our own ideals onto the person. And we hold expectations that they should fulfill those ideals. And we get frustrated when they don't. We judge them. We condemn them. And we contribute to another soul or spirit that is broken. in our ignorance. What I'm speaking to right now through this discourse is I want us all to get on the other side of acting through ignorance because of how dangerous and destructive it can be. We, at this community, we don't have the excuse that others have, the excuse of not knowing, because we do know. And it's time we take advantage of what we know and understand, apply it, practice it. It's 18 months of the North and South Node transit at Pisces and Virgo. It came in with the culture shift of Mars, retrograde Cancer, as I've been speaking about quite a bit. And this has everything to do with us healing what single parenthood did to us, single motherhood did to us, because we are in a self-correction phase coming out of the fall of feminism, through South Node Libra. And we have to clean up our mess from the catalyst that was teaching us this karmic lesson. Indirectly, it was exercising females to pair accountability with their newfound freedom and liberty. The wish is fulfilled, but before it could be a blessing, instead of a curse, they are required to understand that accountability must go with their free will. That is the difference. We have our work cut out for ourselves in healing matters of the inner child, as well as creating a reality, a world, a life that gives the inner child the appropriate life path to journey its experience through. And each of us have a specific heart, soul, urge vibration, which is the numerical value of the day of month that you were born. And we have to take it down a specific life path, which is the sum total of the numerical value of your total birth date, month, day, and year. So there are two realities, or should I say two components. There are two components to consider. That is the inner child and the life path. This is what I want to speak about. When I'm speaking about the inner child, the heart, soul, urge number, which also goes with the sun, this is one expression, okay? This is a single body. This is a single entity. Let's get that understood. When I speak about the life path, it is the energy, the experiences, the karmic transformations that are very specific to that vibration that must take precedence over every experience in your life. If your life path is 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the number is, you have to have experiences of that theme, experiences of that meaning, experiences of that vibration. And if I give an example, if your life path is 4, your life consists of experiences with material, logistics, order, structure, discipline, hard work, grit. You're working with Saturn and Venus through Taurus. as well as the earth placements in the chart. The physical reality, the physical realm, the physical world is where your spirit has a catalyst and karmic platform for its development and understanding to grow. That is where the soul grows through that particular life path. We're learning to get aligned with our life paths. But what good is that if we are not aware of what we're bringing down that life path, such as the heart, soul, urge expression, the voice of the inner child, the expression of the inner child, that which the inner child urges us to do. What are we supposed to be doing down there? That goes back to the heart, soul, urge number. This is a story of, hey, what are you doing down this hallway? What are you doing in this room? You don't belong in here. Do you have a password? Do you have an identification? Do you have the clearance to be in here? Are you authorized to be on this pathway? This is the crisis we all are in. We're in this crisis because Rockefeller and Rothschilds, they had this brilliant idea of very rich Jewish investors that corporation would be them deciding for us what our life path will be. And we all became subject to the number 8 vibration for that reason. Regardless of our life path, the number 8 took precedence over all of our lives. That was not for all of us. It was for the ones who were born with the 8 vibration. Now, our world becomes colorful, and that we're being asked to be ourselves this time because Pluto has taken down the order of Rothschild Rockefeller as Pluto left out of Capricorn. It is fallen. Past tense, it is fallen. This is the season where decentralization will be initiated. If you look, for example, Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, a young mid-30s president over his country, he's a hero of all of Africa, and many other Eastern nations. He's a hero because he has given everyone the courage and the vision to see that it was more fitting, it made more sense to have self-determination, to have independence, to not be a codependent, to not rely on others for your needs, but to create your own destiny and reality, to be self-sufficient. Much like Omar Gaddafi, who wanted to unify all of Africa, create their own currency, free medical, free housing, free education. If you get married, they will support you by giving you a certain measure of land for some. They would finance marriages up to, a limited amount. But they were encouraging or incentivizing marriages and families. They also were encouraging and incentivizing wellness for the citizens and community. However, for many reasons that we could go on talking about, Obama thought it was a good idea to kill the man. And so we have a return of the same story all over again. Where in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré is doing the exact same things. And now France is offended that they told them to get out. And we don't want your help anymore. We don't need your services. We got it. We want to be independent. We don't mean any harm. We just want to have our own self-determination. We want to have dignity. Thank you very much. And that offended France. Okay. And America allegedly is getting involved with the situation in which Michael Langley, who is a Marine high brass general, is now snooping around over there. And according to current allegations, the story is developing all over again, even after recent attempts for his life. Just like Muammar Gaddafi, they don't agree that someone should be self-determined while they are benefiting from their slavery. Okay? So this is the story in a microcosm of all of us with the Rothschild-Rockefeller order. Okay, of that Pluto-Capricorn transit, where it became most realized that this was the case, and Pluto dismantled the whole entire thing. And so we're coming into a place where we're getting prepared for self-determination. We're getting prepared for the same mindset, the same mentality. But these steps of healing the inner child are necessary to find that course, to find that route in our own personal lives. We had to overcome emotional codependence. We had to overcome a crisis with our own dignity, pride, and self-respect, self-determination. We had to find our own identity overall. We were being born into a culture where we were producing the exact opposite. Romance, chivalry, feminism, and monogamy. It only created chaos between man and woman, incentivizing the worst behaviors. You get a lot of money if you marry a rich man, and you get a lot of money if you hurry up and divorce him and go on to the next one. We will reward you for having children. It will guarantee you a place in the Section 8 line, the welfare state, Lyndon B. Johnson. If you turn the nigga in, we will give you a voucher for you to have your own place and give you some nice potatoes and bread and peanut butter, government cheese, and SNAP benefit card, EBT, whatever else. But you got to turn the nigga in, and he can't stay in the place that we give you. Okay? You go to court, and it's no secret that children are convenient weapons for some females who lack understanding. So we're coming out of everything that has been enabling the worst of us, the corruption in us, the sickness in us, the disunity, the distrust. And that is a scary place to be. It's a scary place to be because we are not used to being our natural selves. We're not used to it. It's unfamiliar. It's scary when you realize that you have to trust yourself. You have to start trusting yourself. That's when you realize that you haven't trusted yourself all along. You were trusting what something or somebody else was doing for you. You were trusting that somebody else will think for you. Somebody else will interpret life for you. Somebody else will explain global events to you. Somebody will interpret and explain what the president said, what this person said, what that person did. But you weren't used to thinking for yourself. You forgot how to practice critical thinking. And that was the crisis of fathers leaving the home. Critical thought left with the fathers. So did structure, order, and discipline. Dysfunction crept in. The devil crept in. And families as we knew it is something of a distant past. People who are not from America can never really understand this. But it's quite tragic if you're from this country and you're old enough to see the phases that American families have gone through behind feminism, welfare, and consumerism. It has gone through phases that leaves families as something that is quite unrecognizable. And the children are growing with very strange and dysfunctional behaviors, characteristics, and traits, and quite confused. Confused about their genders, confused about what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad, who they are, what life means. But the testosterone of the youth, it will make them feel like they do understand, believe me. And I know you can relate to that. So, enough of my ranting. Let me get to the point. I have an image up here that I'm sure you can see. On one side, you see the little girl with an expression on her face that I think we could all interpret in many different ways. Fear, insecurity, guilt, feeling betrayal, loneliness, isolation, everything except loved. That is the position that the inner child is in before we realize some things through the Cancer Mars retrograde transit that took 7 months. That inner child was in that cold, dark room, faced with its demons, its fears, and psychological torment. And most of that came from the generations of feminism. It's the consequences and the results of being raised in a culture of feminism. And what we all overlooked is what it was doing to the children. What we all forgot is what it did to the child. We were too absorbed in ourselves, too worried about ourselves. We put so much energy into justifying ourselves, and we forgot what effect these things took on the children. That the father is not there. And that narratives were put around that it was always the man's fault. It was always the father's fault. It was always daddy was wrong, mommy was right. And then the child has to grow old enough to realize that mommy wasn't exactly truthful. She wasn't exactly honest. Children are not dumb forever. Sooner or later they grow up and they have enough wisdom to decode what happened. Mysteriously, only fathers can be abusers. Only fathers can be molesters. Only fathers can be rapists. Only fathers can cause torment and pain to the children. Only fathers. None of us have hardly ever heard of such reports of mothers or women. It's always the man's fault. that he's not there. There's a lot to be explained about how these stories came about. From the time of conception on that Saturday night, or the marriage when it was fun, and the honeymoon, whatever the story may be, there is a chain of events where two adults, or sometimes teenagers, they use their power, they use their authority, they use their consent to create or co-create an outcome. And feminism would have it to be that it's all on the man why everything went wrong. It's always his fault why something didn't go right. But regardless of whose fault it was, the child was affected. Since the 70s, the child was affected by the father not being there. A demand was put on the woman's shoulders to compensate, to make up for the absence of the father. And although it is impossible to supplement for or make up for the absence of father, she attempted to. She attempted. And it only made her more distant, more absent, more disconnected. To keep up with that burden, to keep up with the demand of paying the bills, providing food, clothing, shelter. But it was impossible for her to be as present as would be healthy for the child, because of the demand of the number 8 vibration, Capricorn, Rothschild, Rockefeller. Your life is expendable for the corporate machine. And what effect did that have on the children? Many of us were damn near raising ourselves as mothers worked 2 and 3 jobs. This is the first generation, Generation Z. I guess it's called Generation Z, where a lot of them are born with silver spoons in their mouth. A lot of them never had a hard time a day in their life. They didn't come from the stories of, wearing the same clothes to school over and over again. 1 pair of jeans for 3 days, hand-me-downs or noodles every day and hot dogs. You understand? The typical hood ghetto shit. They want to be those people in the rap music, in their stories. Okay, as they express themselves, the youth pretend like they came from struggles, but they didn't. They come from the suburbs and fine living compared to what most of us went through from the 80s, mid-90s on back. Okay, it was hard for us. Most of us were openly in poverty. We even made poverty something cool to be. Okay? However, what was a crisis, even though they were in those raised in gated communities, the Generation Z, the suburbs, Generation Z, is that they never got to see, and of course you understand that I'm speaking about the overwhelming common experience here in America of fatherlessness. Okay, this is not every person. Of course, it could not be every person. What did take effect to the youth here is that they never got to grow up seeing man and woman unified in the home as husband and wife, man and woman, mommy and daddy. They seen boyfriends every now and then of hers, mystery guys, or no one at all, their aunties, and men who were beaten down by society to not express their masculinity, to not be masculine. So they become docile, they become fragile, they become feminine, they become weak. They use women for a place to sleep. They use women so they could drive their car, so they could have a home, eat their groceries, so on and so forth. But they don't get to see the demonstration of what is a man. How does a man talk to a woman? How does a man deal with a woman? How does a man manage a home? How does a man manage his wife? How does a man manage his children? How does he protect them? What does that look like to protect? What does it look like for a man to love a woman? What does it look like for a woman to love a man? What does it look like for a man to take care of his wife? What does it look like for the wife to take care of the husband? Children of this generation they were born in the distance of those common stories, where it all became normal, or normalized, I should say. But the effect is still there. It doesn't erase the effect that it has to the soul, the heart, the inner child. Divine masculine had to be there for there to be a proper balance. They're missing Saturn, discipline, order, structure, obedience. They're missing the sun, their self-confidence and self-esteem. They're missing key components to the stability of the inner self, key components to the stability of their social life, key components to what gives them access to strength and endurance, integrity, good character, wisdom. They're missing key components. They're the children who are raised in homes where the smoke detector beeps, it chirps their entire life, and nobody ever changes that damn battery. And that alone is a symbol that explains everything. It explains how much danger a household is in when there's no man around. And no matter how confident the woman sounds, no matter how she explains it away or justifies it, she herself is in danger too, but she doesn't know it. And if she doesn't know it, she's too proud to ever admit it. There should be a man there, the appropriate man. Without preaching into those things, the inner child, early on at that fourth house, somebody was supposed to be paying attention to the expressions of the inner child and begin watering and nurturing its life path. Somewhere you were expressing yourself in early years, and somebody was supposed to pay attention and say, I have to place this energy into the right garden so it can grow. You see, the heart so urges the seed that contains all of the information, all of the data, all of the genetics, all of the expressions of what that seed is to bear. An apple seed is an apple seed. Okay? A watermelon seed is a watermelon seed. A number 1 vibration is a 1 vibration. A number 3 vibration is a number 3 vibration. It does not change. That's the seed. I hope you're listening. Listen. That's the seed. The heart soul urge expression is the seed, not the life path. Okay, stay with me. Focus. The heart soul urge number is the seed. It carries all of the genetic information. The seed is so valuable. Even in today's times, farmers who grow their crops, they don't own the rights to the seeds. Okay, people out there who are farmers or who know farmers, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but to my knowledge and what I have learned, farmers do not own the rights to seeds. That should tell you something. How much value and intelligence is in a seed to where you can patent a seed? Don't you know that seeds have patents? You can get sued for using somebody's seeds without their permission or contract. You can't just grow corn or apple trees or bananas in a farm at that capacity with patent seeds without permission or contract. That lets you know something of what's the potential, the value, and the specification that's in a seed. A seed is very specific. If you place it and nurture it, water it, put it in the proper place, the seed will split at a time where the universal laws has decided is the correct time. And there is a timing to that. There's a season to it. You can't plant a seed whenever the hell you want. You have to consult the universe, the oracle of the universe. You have to know the lunar transits. You have to know the proper seasons, altitude, temperature or weather, climate. Climate is the proper word. Acidity. There's so much you have to know and understand about that. I'm not a farmer, okay? But these are the basic things that I understand about it. And if we have the proper understanding of how the laws of the universe works, of how the laws of nature works, it increases the probability, of a successful cultivation. A successful cultivation. So if I know what seed is in each one of my children, if I know what seed is in my wife, if I know what seed is in my husband, if I know that numerical expression of the heart soul urge of their soul, of their inner child, I'm increasing the probability of a successful cultivation, a desired outcome. Now, let's go farther. Obviously, I'm hinting at an idea of farming, right? Cultivation. Now, this is in light of the fact we just had the new moon Taurus. So I hope that you are keeping sharp memory of the things that we go over. Okay, if you are consistent. Cultivation. Now, the life path, that is the type of soil. I'm not going to ruin that. I'm going to let that sink in. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to let you have a few seconds of quiet to just let that digest while I sip this water. There's no way I could keep talking after saying that. Are you ready? Okay, thank you for giving that thought. Because if the heart soul urge number, or vibration is the seed of the inner child. Okay, that's the seed of the inner child. That seed, there's a way to plant every seed. A banana tree, good luck in planting seeds of bananas in Chicago or some rocky terrain, some cold, some cold, harsh weathered environment. Good luck. What are you going to do? Banana seeds have to be planted in tropical weather, tropical conditions. Apple trees, okay, you could plant them upstate New York. I've seen them. Okay? But you can't plant any kind of seed in any kind of soil, any kind of location. You can't fucking do that. Good luck. What does that start with? It starts with knowledge. It starts with knowing the value and potential of the seed. What's the value and potential of the heart, soul, urge expression of your beloved and of yourself? What's the value of that? Some seeds are complex, right? You may be born on the 28th. In your seed, you have the 2 and the 8 and the 1. The 2, the 8, and the 1. You may be born on the 1st. You have the 1, but not the 2 and the 8. You see, that seed is slightly different. It's a significant genetic signature that's different. Both of them are ones, but they're not the same kind of ones. A person born on the 28th is a 1, but it's not the type of one that was born on the 1st. The 28th is a complex 1. It's a compound 1 consisting of 2 and 8. So where the 1 can be planted, the 2 may have a greater diversity of where it could be planted because the 2 and the 8 are part of the signature and range of possibility of that vibration. Consider that. So the life path is the soil, the conditions, the atmosphere, the altitude, the environment. That's the life path. That's where it must be planted to have a good outcome, a good harvest. You want a good harvest? You plant the seed in the proper soil. And the soil is the life path. The life path is the proper soil for your seed. That's where you're supposed to plant that seed. Now, Taurus new moon, which Taurus rules the earth, as we're speaking about soil, that is what Taurus new moon is about. It's about cultivation. You have to locate the proper soil, or where your life path is at in your life, what it should consist of, what it should look like. And you have to till and turn that soil as you plant the seed of your heart, your soul into it, your inner child. And you will have a good harvest if you are patient, if you are consistent, relentless, faithful. You will have a good harvest. Think of it like a garden. Until that seed is in the proper soil, the inner child is very unhappy. It's especially unhappy if it is not allowed to express itself. If it's not allowed to be what that vibration is telling it to be. The genetics tells a plant or an animal what to be, what to do. Your genetics tells you what to do. The genetics of a dog tells him to sniff the ground, to bark, to chase cats, to lick his balls. That's what it tells it to do. The genetics of a bird tells it to fly. But what happens when you suppress a bird from flying? What happens when you stop a dog from going outside, from barking, from expressing itself? Will it live? Of course it'll live. It'll still live. It's not going to kill it. But will it be as happy as it should be or could be, or healthy as it could be, should be, if it's not suppressed from its nature? We've been doing that to our inner child because getting the bag was more important. We were living under fear. Fear of poverty, fear of losing things, fear of not having things, fear of not reaching or achieving a certain status, fear of not being able to compete with someone. Fear. And we put everything about ourselves that was unique to us, that was authentic to us, and we traded it for $1. We traded it for a better job. We traded it for a great career. We traded it for a chance to make as much money as we possibly can. And it taught us valuable lessons. And some of those valuable lessons is that money cannot buy happiness. And also that what you really would prefer to do is exactly what you love doing. And what a miracle if you can make a living doing what you love to do. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what I'm supposed to do. We all are supposed to do that. And all of us have a numerical combination that allows us to show up for every role in society doing exactly that. So it's like a classroom where the teacher comes in and everyone's supposed to sit in a particular seat. But the teacher comes in that day and they see that all the kids are sitting in the wrong seat. So the teacher asks every child, okay, everybody stand up, go stand on the wall. Everybody go stand against the wall. And one at a time, I'm going to call you all to sit in the proper seat. Okay? Johnny, you come first. Daniel, you come next. Sarah, you. Tim. Tina. Lisa. Chuck, you sit over there. Mark, you sit over there. Okay? So this is what's happening. We all were asked to get up out of our seats that we were not supposed to be sitting in. Stand against the wall, and I'm going to call you one by one to sit in your proper seat. And the seat is the life path. Okay? This is what's happening right now, and this is what we have to intentionally get involved with. We have to participate with the process. The more we understand, the smoother transition we can have. This is a discourse, so, I'm just talking to you naturally. No particular order. Hopefully I'm making some sense here. Now, what happens when we get off of that life path is we create shadows. And that starts early on in childhood. There's no need for me to go into all of the deep things about the fourth house. I've already done that in some discourses that you can go to in previous videos, which, the past 3 or 4 videos, I'm pretty sure I've gone over those things quite a bit. So catching up, let me be productive and, and speak about things we haven't gone into yet. When that seed cannot get to the proper soil, when the inner child has strayed from its life path, there are a few things that happens that should clarify what our soul's journey, what our shadow work is really all about. Now, when our expression is suppressed, it produces a shadow. That's what creates the shadow. Suppression of our most natural expressions. Those are shadows. They are suppressed expressions of ourselves. That's one crisis. To add on to that crisis, we're not even on the right life. We're not present in our life path. Okay? If we're not present, we're not connected. Okay? If we're not present, we're not connected. When we are not present and connected to our life path, we are attached to our fears. We are attached to our traumas. We are attached to the drama that began in the fourth house. Okay? There's attachment and there's connection. Our connection to the life path is where the fulfillment begins. There's nothing you could do to escape your life path. Okay? That's first of all. However, if you're not present with the life path, there's no connection. You're just there existing, but you're not comprehending of what it means to be in that life path. You're not appreciative or in the spirit of gratitude of the miracles taking place through the particular vibrations of your life path. You're surrounded by that energy 24/7. But because your consciousness has not turned on to make that connection, because fear and guilt and shame is blocking your connection to that reality, to those experiences that are engineered for you to receive and grow through, it means nothing to you. It's a burden, it's a distraction, it's something that's in your way instead. Imagine that. So we wake up every day complaining of our life path that really is our greatest blessing. Because we're attached to things that are repeating the themes of our fears, our guilt, and our shame of early childhood. And those are the karmic relationships that we are constantly passing through. The karmics. The karma is there to give us chance to relive the energy that keeps us trapped and blocked. That's karma. And when you are bogged down with karma, you don't realize what there is to be understood about your experiences in life. You don't see the power and the blessing in it. You don't see the opportunity. You don't see that it was designed exactly for you. You don't see that you were the one who prepared it before you even came from heaven. You don't see it because you're not present. You can sit on the couch with your beloved, your wife, your husband, your children, whoever. And just because you're sitting on the couch with the person, it doesn't mean that you're present with the person. Do we all understand that part? I would love if somebody out there could just repeat that in the comment section. Just let me know that you heard that part. Okay? Just because you're sitting next to someone doesn't mean that you're present with the person. Okay? And this is what defines loneliness and isolation. Loneliness has nothing to do with proximation, somebody being there or not. It has everything to do with whether or not there's a connection with who's there. That's what it has to do with. When you don't have positive connections in your life, it leaves you lonely. It leaves you feeling isolated. When you have positive connections, starting with the self, starting with the inner child, loneliness is not possible for you. Isolation is not possible for you, because now isolation becomes solitude, because you embrace it. You are present with it, and it becomes your blessing. That life path can be a horror, a house of terror, a house of ill repute, or it can be heaven. It all depends on what you're perceiving, what your imagination has opened up to. This is why we need connection. Connection to the inner child, connection with others in healthy ways, not attachment. Not attachment. The connection is what makes the life path realized. I understand why I'm here. I see why these are my experiences. I can understand why I attract these experiences. I understand why I was fated to be here, or fated to do this, or fated to do that. All of it is of the same vibration. It's of the same common meaning and pattern. That life path is what we're supposed to learn from, grow from, evolve from. Understand? It's specific for our destiny. Now, when we do not connect to the life path, the shadows of the inner child, they wander. They wander in the karmic realities that we have. They wander around in the karmic realities. You see? So when we're living out attachments in our environment, attachments in our world, attachments in our reality of the life path, that's the wilderness of the life path. Okay? You're driving down the highway and you look to the left and there's trees, deep trees that you can't even see through. Okay? You look to the right, there's a big field. You can't even see the end of it. That is the outer limits of the life path, okay? The outer limits. That's where the shadows go. They go hide in there. That's where they go. And you end up in there with them because of attachments. Understand? So there's the production of, or the birth of the shadows, and then there's the wandering and straying of the shadows, okay? The birth of the shadows, it starts the moment that you suppress the expression, the authentic expression of the inner child, because you're ashamed of it. You suppress it because you don't want to lose your friends because of it. You don't want to lose popularity. You want to get more likes and validation. You want to be accepted. You want to be popular. You want that good job. You don't want her to leave you. You don't want that guy to leave you. You suppress it. Nobody's going to clap for you if you do that. No one will cheerlead you on if you do that. You see, we suppress it. Somebody laughed at you, made fun of you. Somebody shamed you. Somebody embarrassed you. Somebody made you cry. You suppress it. You see, you suppress it. Now a shadow is born, because that becomes energy that we no longer nurture. We neglect it and we leave it on the side of the hill, just like Chiron. You see, I pause for a reason. I pause for a reason. Are you paying attention to what I'm saying? You left it on the side of the hill, just like Chiron. Are you catching a pattern here? Do you see the similarity? Okay, it repeats the story of Chiron. Chiron's mother was ashamed of Chiron because Chiron was born dismembered. He was born with funny anatomy. So they left Chiron on the side of the hill because they were ashamed of Chiron. And later on, through the wounding, Chiron became the healer. Of course, he was fumbling with an arrow, okay, and this led to a tragedy that set, the tone of the story, okay? But that's where the pain began at. The abandonment. Okay, so now, as you heard in the discourses that I gave before this about the fourth house and the correlation of the inner child and Chiron in the fourth house, Chiron is always going to be a deeper explanation of our shadows, a deeper explanation of the crisis and pain of the inner child. Chiron explains the community of your shadows. Chiron explains who your shadows are as companions. They are what you did with the pain. They are what the pain caused you to do. That's what your shadows are. Parts of yourself that you became ashamed of, but the energy did not go away. It had to go somewhere, so it became a supervillain in the underworld. It became a juvenile delinquent enjoying gangs in the underworld. Figuratively. Spray painting on the wall. Sticking people up. Bang, bang, shoot 'em up, run down the block. Selling drugs. Going in and out of jail. These energies wreak havoc. They wreak havoc because they were not giving nurturing, they were not giving love, they were not giving attention, they were not giving support, they were not giving advocacy. So they became hard, they became sad, they became depressed, they became downtrodden, they became the black sheep of the universe in yourself. They are the black sheep in yourself. This is the time where we have to go and recover them, bring them back and say, I'm not ashamed of you anymore. I honor you. I will give you a voice. I will nurture you. I will heal you. I will care for you. You don't have to live that way anymore. I have a safe place for you. And a safe place is your boundaries, your dignity, your self-respect. Your strength when you advocate for your personal needs, when you advocate for what is unique about you that must have its right to expression in the world. That's the safe place. The shadows require a safe place. They feel threatened. They feel like you're going to leave them again. What you find after nurturing them and healing them, giving them food, clothing, shelter, and love, is they have gifts. They have superpowers. They can do things for you that you could never fathom. Because these are heavenly expressions. The inner child gives you heavenly expressions straight from heaven. What I mean by heavenly expressions they are expressions that are meant to change the world, heal the world, move the world forward, to bring solutions, to bring efficiency, to bring support in the earth, creativity, evolution, development, growth, transformation, ascension. These are the gifts of the inner child, and they move through many mediums and means of expression, from arts to STEM, such as science, technology, engineering, so on and so forth. Every shadow has gifts, and you purge those shadows with love. Understand? So the life path, if you imagine, okay, that's where we're supposed to be. But through shame, fear, and guilt, we forced these shadows off of the life path, and they're wreaking havoc. And their life path becomes the shadow of your life path. Okay, for example, if your life path is number 8, you are supposed to be a person of enterprise behind the scene, politics and business, okay, infrastructure. However, the outliers of shadows, when they get into the outer shadow world of the number 8 life path, what do? They steal, they embezzle, they use the same heavenly forces, the same heavenly powers to do mischief, to create problems. And ultimately, that is for what? Attention. To get attention, to get recognition, to get what they were not getting in the first place. Look at me, love me, pay attention to me. Doesn't every child make trouble for the same reason? They simply want attention, validation, love. Yeah, you got it. It's the same with them, your shadows. They are in the shadow of your life path, wandering around, waiting for you to take command, take control, waiting for you to be in charge, but in a loving way. We have to know our numerology. If you don't know your heart soul urge expression, let me be right and exact. If you don't understand your heart soul urge expression, it's a tragedy for you. If you don't understand your life path, it's a tragedy. We have to competently lead the forces within the self. We have to competently lead the forces within the self, not confidently, competently. We have to lead the forces within the self. Inner child needs to know that he or she can trust you. And you are only trusted when you are a competent person. We have to understand the numerology of the self. Heart, soul, urge, who am I? What is my soul here to express? Life path, what are the means that I'm supposed to express this through? The channels that I'm supposed to express this through, the ways. Where is my community? What is my territory? What is my jurisdiction? That is the life path. What is my role in life? That is the life path. What am I to learn to take value of? Life path is what we're learning to value. We're learning to value. Walking with your shadows, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to change. No guts, no glory. This is where you yourself, you too, become infamous. Because when you lead with your shadows, these are the parts of yourself that you blamed for the abandonment. They're the parts of yourself that you blamed for the isolation, that you blame for why you lost the girl, for why you lost the guy, why Sally left you, why Johnny left you. It's your shadows. We're picking them back up. Leo Mars transit. That little girl that you see sitting in the chair in the picture here, okay, this animation. She's tired of being in there, in that dark, cold room where you just locked her away, where you locked him away, and you slide the soup under the door. Every 3 days you bring him nasty ass porridge and you slide it under the door to your inner child. Here, inner child, eat that. The inner child is barely alive because you doing everything except for what the inner child is asking you to do. The inner child is heavenly. Heavenly. It leads you to joy, fulfillment, the fruits of the fifth house. That's what the inner child does. It leads you to the fruits of the fifth house, the joy of the fifth house, the happiness of the fifth house, the fulfillment of the fifth house. That's what the inner child does. And who are you when you're happy? You're the best version of yourself when you're happy. That's who you are. And this is the inner child leading you to happiness, not somebody else who you're trying to control to make you happy, who you're attached to in anticipation of that security making them happy, making you happy. Nobody can make you happy except for your inner child. That's who can give you happiness. That's who can lead you to it. And once you're happy, you're unstoppable. You are unstoppable when you are happy. When you are happy, your creativity has no limitations. And when you have creativity, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't bring into existence, and you do so with ease. Leading with optimism. Leo Mars is about finding that expression and advocating for it, fighting for it, defending it, justifying it. But why would you have to fight for and defend an expression that people love already, that people want, that people go in their wallet and they swipe the cards to see you express that? No, this isn't that kind of expression. These are the expressions of the shadows that we left behind is what we're fighting for. We're fighting for the shadows to have a turn to speak, for the shadows to have a turn to express, for the shadows to have a turn to be identified with the self. They're waiting for you to find the courage. The end result of this is Aquarius. The fruit of this is that we become authentic, Aquarius. The fruit of this is that we become unorthodox, Uranus. The fruit of this is that we become exactly who we were looking for. We become who we needed. The innovative outcome of Aquarius. This is when we create that which has not been, no eye has seen and no ear has heard. Because no eye has seen and no ear has heard the shadows of the earth. Not in happiness. Being ashamed of these parts of who you are. Because nobody gave you validation for it. No. We're going the opposite way. Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio for 9 months. It's going to create realities that gives us a clear sight of these shadows. Okay? It's basically, it's smoking the shadows out of hiding. That's what Black Moon Lilith is doing. It's smoking the shadows out of hiding. Okay? It's like you call the exterminator and they put this smoky stuff in all the bugs, the roaches, they come running out. The rodents, they come running out. So that Black Moon Lilith is going to cause all of these shadows to come out of hiding, to come out into the open, so that you can recognize them and see them and turn to them in love. That's what it's all about. What are you going to do when you see your shadow? Are you going to say, oh, that's not me? That didn't come from me? Are you going to be ashamed? Are you going to turn your back again? You're going to lead a baby on the side of a hill because you're ashamed of the baby? That's what you're going to do? That's how you get down? Let me find out that's how you get down. You know what I mean? Heart, soul, urge seeks life path. Cultivation. The genetics of that seed is very specific, and it has to be cultivated in a very specific way. That is the relationship, the correlationship between heart, soul, urge number, and life path. This is something that you need an understanding of, not knowledge. Okay? So if you have not already scheduled with me, when it's convenient for you, when it's a time that you're prepared or ready, you need to schedule a session with me concerning your numerology. And it will be explained to you how your numerological expressions are identifiable in your natal birth chart. Okay? This is different than a natal birth chart reading, but specifically, I need you all to understand your numerology. Your natal birth chart reading, I'm always going to emphasize how important that is. But right now, because of the transits that we have of Leo Mars and Black Moon Lilith for 9 months, we need to know our numerology. We need to understand our numerology. Do not assume. You need the understanding. Here is my vision and here is my intention. My vision and my intention is to be more engaged, interactive, and intimately connected with each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. I don't want to make a cookie cutter, one fits all message, and I'm not reaching who needs to be reached. I have to make effect to every person. And part of that reason is because the messengers are out there. It's you. You are the disciples that would take this message and make it digestible to others. Make it relatable to others. That's not a gift that I have. That's not my role. That's not what I'm here to do. But some of you out there could be just the ones who does have that ability. I'm not for everyone. I'm for people who are strong enough to stand next to me. I'm for people who are resilient enough to endure my light. And I don't say light in an arrogant sense of myself, but that I'm very aware that God channels this specific light through me. It does not belong to me. It is not because of me. It's just that because of my heart, soul, urge expression in life path, it is my duty for the kingdom of heaven to do this. It's my duty. But my self-awareness grows and expands to see that it's not for me to touch every individual out there. It's for me to touch disciples so that those disciples can touch scholars and those scholars can reach the prudent. It has to go in that order. because I do not have the ability to mingle with the people, because everybody cannot stand in my presence and endure the burden or the weight of such intensity. You out there who consistently are here obviously can endure that. You have the strength for that. You have the courage for that. You have the sincerity for that. The transparency. So I have to get closer to you to transfer this message so that you can take the essence of that message and deliver it in your own ways, affecting all those around you. Because it does no good if it stops here. It does no good if it's not moving and spreading out. So we have to take action. And the best action to take is to make sure that the understanding is there with every person who's listening. Part of this is because there's much that I need to explain. There's much that I need to teach. But if I have not prepared you personally, there's a lot of things I can't even go into. There's a lot of things I can't discuss and open up as topics and subjects. I have to prepare you myself so that I know it's taught to you properly, so that the understanding is given to you correctly. Then I know that my discourses can accelerate and my discourses can expand more, because I know I've prepared those out there to be able to receive it. Understand? So I'm not here for the attention, the validation, or likes. I don't put a camera on my face. I don't show my body. I don't have fancy hats. All kind of girls in the comment section with smooch faces and validation comments and all this. None of that over here. All you're gonna get over here is a message. That's it. I tried my best to keep myself out of it, because that ego is it can be evil. I don't want that karma. I don't want that karma. So I have to insist that those of you out there who have to get caught up, who don't know what's going on, or who can't understand some of this terminology, that's fine. But it's not okay if you don't ask questions so that I can't help you. And the more of you out there who I can develop and mentor through these regular sessions, the more of a learning environment that can be created. Because some of you probably want to say things or share things or whatever else, but there's the hesitation because, I'm not sure if I understand, or you may understand very well, or there's a lot that I could even learn from you, but you don't know what's appropriate or what's not. There could be so many different things. And I'm sure I could learn a lot from all of you as well. But I have to create an atmosphere that's full of learning, empowerment, and encouragement to embrave the burden, encouragement to brave the challenge of truth, the challenges of really getting to know and empower the self. The more of you out there, the more of a learning environment we can create, and support system that we can create, and community that we can create, to where it serves the needs of everyone. Understand? So I hope that makes sense with what I'm saying. And I'm also, really I'm expecting that this message, it was, beneficial or useful. Let me know in the comments, what you think, or what you feel, how this may have benefited you in any kind of way. The feedback, the communication, it goes a long way because, again, I need to cause more learning to take place. Understand, I have to cause it because I can't be just an entertainer. Okay, I don't want to suffer that. All right.